Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Thank you for joining us. Just want to give a special welcome to those who are here live and also to those who are listening to the podcast. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to give yourself the gift of gratitude. This is I can't think of a better way to start your day. It's awesome. Somebody mentioned as we were doing our rounds of gratitude before we started the recording, somebody mentioned about how these gratitude calls build on each other. And I think it was Tyree said that she was grateful for the focus that we had yesterday and just, recognizing how each of the gratitude calls build on each other. And I felt like that would be a really good focus for us today is building on the past. I know a lot of times when we think about the past, we look at it as maybe negative or maybe more positive than the present. It's like glory days. Or, we look at the past as why, regret, why did I make that choice or whatever. But I love this idea and this, I think, true principle of building on the past and using it as a resource. So I'm going to set the timer for 90 seconds and we're going to have a private silent meditation and to see what comes up for you, what personal revelations you receive during this 90 seconds on gratitude for building on the past. Just write down whatever comes to you. Begin. All right, let's get this last thought written down here. All right. The last thing that I just wrote down was that the past was the present at one point, and today is going to be the past at some point. And what I realized is that a lot of times we look back on the past and, maybe have regrets or wish that things have gone a little bit faster, a little smoother, or whatever. But, every day I'm doing my best. I do what I know in the moment. And at some point when I know more, it's like God gives us just this little lighted path, just so far ahead we can see. And when we get past that and we look back, it's like, why didn't I do a better job at that? Well, it was because in the present moment, we were doing the best that we could. And the reason why we look back on the past with maybe regret is because we know so much more now in the present, in the new present. And so, it's kind of like I guess, so the message of that is today, do your best, do my best today, so that when I look back on it in the future, I can be grateful for how far I've come, like seeing how far I've come, because I know in the moment that I did the best that I could. So when I look back and I see that it maybe wasn't as, good as I could do now, it's like celebration time. It's grateful time, to be grateful for who I am in the present. Who else has something they'd like to share?
I'd love to share on this.
Okay, thanks.
The word that what came up for me was evidences, because that's what we need to be able to excite ourselves and motivate ourselves to be able to move into the unknown, is if we can build evidences and proof that we can do it. And so that's why tracking your creating your own agenda for the day and then tracking it to see if you completed it is so important, because it shows your brain that you can accomplish things, and then you can hold those as truths as you move into the future to give you the confidence that you need.
Awesome. Beautiful. I think every first step starts with faith. Faith is, I think if I remember the scripture right, faith is evidence. You're talking about evidence. Faith is evidence of things hoped for, but not seen. So the evidence that you're talking about is actually taking action. Maybe you get your inspired shortcut for that day and you take action on it, and you can chalk that up and say, yes, there's some evidence that I am obedient. And that adds proof, that adds some solidarity to that faith. But until we have the hard, solid proof that we're actually getting somewhere, faith is evidence that we can hold on to. Thank you. Who else?
I'll share.
Okay, thanks, Melissa.
So I have a friend from high school who is mixed race, and he's very outspoken about Black Lives Matter. He's constantly posting topics about race. And a few years ago, I kind of debated him once. I don't know why. I just decided to share my opinion with him. And with all that's going on in the world right now, I've had a shift in my beliefs, and I felt the need to apologize to him for what I had said before, because it kind of contradicted what I now believe. And he was blown away. He was just like, wow, I can't believe that you would, like, I know how hard it is to, admit you were wrong and, like, apologize, like, thank you so much. And I was like, I really don't have a problem admitting that I'm wrong. I mean, there probably are some subjects where I'm like, no, I'm for sure right. But at least in this topic, I had no problem admitting that I was wrong. And I think about the North Star navigation, or whatever you call it. You ask us all those questions about everything that's wrong with us. And I'm like, I want to know everything that's wrong with me so that I can change it, so that I can improve, so that I can be better. And so I just use that as evidence for my personal development, that I know that I'm becoming a better person because I'm willing to admit that I was wrong. And I don't beat myself up about it. I'm not like, oh, I feel so much regret and I'm awful. And, I'm just like, nope, I was wrong. And now I'm going to do better. And, it just feels good to have that level of awareness, and to be able to move forward knowing that I'm going to do better this time.
Beautiful. I love that, Melissa. And I know that he probably didn't expect that, and it wasn't absolutely necessary for you to go to him and apologize. But how much more free and clear you can walk your path when there are no unfinished business. There's no like things that are still like dragging you back. to past decisions that you've made back then, based on the beliefs, like I was saying before, that was your best in the present. That was, based on your beliefs in the present moment back then. And now you've aligned yourself, you're talking about being wrong. It's just being out of alignment. That's all it is. It's just not totally understanding what the highest truth is. And then as soon as we recognize that we make the shifts, do the things necessary, apologize if we need to, and get ourselves more aligned with truth. And today you have a new understanding based on experiences in the world, based on your own personal beliefs that have been changed, with new evidences that are coming to you. What a beautiful thing to be able to just constantly be seeking. That's what we do with the permission process, is just constantly seeking for the highest truth and to align ourselves with the highest truth. Thank you.
I just wanted to add, as you were saying that, I was thinking about me being not aligned. I'm like, how much compassion can I give to other people? If I can notice that I did it, I can give other people the compassion to know that, when they're saying things that I don't agree with, that, sound crazy, awful, they're just not aligned. And that's okay. I've done it too.
Yeah. And they're doing their best. That's always good.
Right.
Based on what they know. Awesome. Who else would like to share something?
I'd like to share.
Okay, thanks, Tammy.
Yeah, so the words that first came to me were perfect preparation. And then what else came after that was that God can use anything, any experience from the past, and have it work together for my good. As I consistently turn to Him in the now, everything works together for me to become my highest self.
Wow, love that. As you were talking about any experience from the past, that God can use that for our good. When you do a power alignment call with me, one of the things that we do is we go back and we find the traumatic moment where a belief was created that has been causing some repeated patterns of, whatever negative things happening. We go back and actually find that one traumatic moment where that decision was made. And you would think that would be a really painful thing. A lot of people are a little afraid of that the first time, that they do that with me. But it's such a beautiful experience to go back and to recognize and to be able to see it now as an adult with new beliefs and new understanding of what, really serves, a higher understanding of truth, and to go back and heal that, with it. It's like being able, how you say, I wish I could go back and do that over again. Well, this is an opportunity for you to go back and do that over again. And it's such a loving, peaceful, just filled with gratitude moment. And it's freeing. It's so freeing. And I love how we can use those past experiences to heal us. Any other thoughts?
This is Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel.
That was really cool, Wileen and Tammy. I have had twins, and it's been really, really difficult for me. It's been hard to raise them. They're 2 years old now. And they came to my mind in the meditation that they've stretched me and enhanced my capabilities, and I'm stronger as a mother because of them. And I just wanted to thank Phil, because I feel like I'm stepping into the unknown right now, like a new start and whole new world's before me, and I'm just stepping into it a step at a time. And I just am full of gratitude that these twins that God has given me evidence that I am strong, capable, and that I can do that. I can step into the unknown. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I love that. Goes along with that perfect preparation too. Thank you. Any last thoughts before we shift over to our permission process? All right. Just go ahead and take a deep breath. Just allow yourself to settle in We've created a really beautiful space of being able to go back to the past with no judgment, being just grateful for the preparation and for the evidence that has been created over the past, the knowledge that in the past we were in the present doing our best. Just a really loving, gentle trip down memory lane. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. And I just feel inspired to start with a limiting belief. So I just invite you to be open to listen for any limiting belief that is showing up for you right now, regardless of what it is related to. Just trust it and just allow that limiting belief to come to you. And before we go to the cost, I invite you to be open to listen for the first memory that's coming to you related to this limiting belief. And just take note of what that memory is, some point in the past. It could be recent or it could be old. And as you see yourself in that memory, I invite you to go to the most painful moment of that memory, the moment that feels the heaviest and the darkest. Just allow yourself to drift into that moment right now and be fully conscious and aware of it. And in that darkest moment, what was the decision that you made about yourself? You might, the words might come to you that you made the decision, about something or about someone else, but this is a decision that you make about yourself. And it starts with I am. And it's usually something that you wouldn't want to speak out loud because it's too painful. And that's okay. Let's just allow that to surface. Just give space for this wounded child. I'm going to call it a child, whether you are an adult or a child when it happened. Just the words that that wounded child chose to describe his or herself in that heaviest, darkest moment. And as you're becoming more clear with that decision, that I am statement that's painful to look at, I invite you now to examine the cost, because if you made a decision about yourself in a heavy, traumatic moment, that decision is probably the most powerful words that the universe will hear and will continue to create that in your life. So what is the cost of having that decision? What patterns is that decision that you made about yourself continuing to create in your life? What evidence are you still seeing that that limiting belief is still present in your life? And now that you are getting more clear with how this decision about yourself has been affecting you, I invite you to give yourself permission, if you choose to change. And if you are willing and ready to change that decision about yourself, say yes.
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 Awesome. So the first thing that we need to do is create some new beliefs. As you're looking at that decision about yourself, just ask yourself, is that true? And if it's not 100% absolutely true, then let's choose something that is more in alignment with truth. So what is actually true about yourself? More true than this decision that you had made about yourself. Let's get 2 or 3 new beliefs that will really empower you, that you can trust, that you can believe. They're more aligned with truth, so you can embrace them even more than that limiting belief was embraced, that you can actually see the falsehood of that limiting decision that you had made about yourself, and create some new beliefs that will counteract it and that feel way more true. And with these new beliefs, I invite you to take on these new beliefs as your adult self, using even logic to understand the higher truth of them, and believing that this is going to serve you from this point forward. And as that new person that has embraced these new beliefs, you're going to go back, and invite you to go back to that memory and seeing your younger self, and go back to that heaviest, darkest moment. And this time, have a conversation with yourself and teach your younger self more about who he or she is based on these new beliefs that you have chosen for yourself. So go back and just share these new beliefs with your younger self. Help your younger self believe in the power that he or she has within. And what does that younger self need to know about himself or herself to make a different choice, to decide something different than that decision that was made long ago? And when you feel that your younger self has taken these new beliefs in and has changed perspective enough to make a new decision, I invite you to watch as this memory is unfolding in a completely different way, that it actually plays out differently because of these new beliefs, because of the new decision that is made about your younger self. What is the way that this memory actually plays out now? And this is a memory, this is a imagination, so anything can happen. I mean, the person could turn into a superhero and fly. It's whatever serves. And with the way that this memory unfolded this time, what is the new decision about yourself? I am. And choose a word or a phrase that feels true about the way that this memory played out this time. And take note of the feeling, the emotion, the connection with your younger self. And just revel in that new feeling of celebration. And whenever you feel ready, you can come back to the present. And within this healed memory and these new words that have been created, what is the one most important thing that you could do today to add evidence, physical, hard evidence, to the faith that you have in these new beliefs? What is the one inspired shortcut, the one most important thing that you could do today that would make this new decision about yourself true? In a moment, I'm going to open it up for some shares. I want to invite anyone who is within the sound of my voice, if you would like to have a 15-minute free call with me, mentoring call with me, I would love to discuss with you just whatever it is that you're feeling like you need some extra support in. And you do that by going to askwylene.com, and that will take you directly to my calendar, and you can schedule a 15-minute call. askwylene.com. I believe there are even still some spaces available this week, so I would love to have that time with you. Who has something that they would like to share about their experience today?
I do.
Thanks, Phil.
So what came up for me was that I'm boring and undesirable. And I know, ultimately it's not, I mean, that's on the surface, right? Because what's wrong with being boring and undesirable? It means that nobody wants to be with me.
Mm.
It means that I'm alone. And ultimately it means that I have to face the world alone, and that, um, that, and then being alone, what's wrong with that is that I'll die, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
alone or something. And so, so what came up to me was like this sequence of beliefs. The one on the top seemed like it was the right one,
Mm-hmm.
the one that says I'm boring, and the cost of that is that comparison, comparison and looking sideways instead of looking forward. And I'm not somebody else. I'm not, if I look sideways and I see somebody in their moment, doing something or providing, um, a, a source of, entertainment or happiness or whatever, and I'm looking sideways at it, then I compare myself in my present moment to that person, and I lose my identity. And the other cost is that I'm tempted to compromise my value and go out and try something different that is, to try and mimic, what I see on the outside. And so the new belief is that I'm enough, and that I'm unique in my own way, and that I have a special purpose and calling for me in this world. And then ultimately, like the shortcut to all that is love. If I'm in comparison, that is fear. That's the motivation. The motivation to go and do those things that would compromise my values is about fear. But when it's love, when the motivation is love, then I can look at myself and say, I love me, and I love that I'm unique. I love that, that I can feel, love for other people, and that I can build them up and see their uniqueness and look at the gold in them instead of judgment and comparison with them. So that was a
Wow.
lot, but
Yeah.
that's what came up.
Super powerful though, Phil. I mean, there's so much gold in there. When you said lose your identity, I mean, really, that's what limiting beliefs do. They make us believe in a falsehood. They make us believe in something that is not true, and we lose the true identity, the beauty of ourselves. And I love what you're saying about comparing, because first of all, we can't love other people because we have fear that we're not as good as them, or whatever, they're going to outshine us or whatever. So or it's on the opposite end of the spectrum, I don't love them because I'm better than them, which is still equally as destructive. And if we're looking side by side, use the word mimic, and I just felt like that's such a true concept, that as when we're comparing, then there's like this desire to be like someone else, and again losing our true identity. And you're so absolutely right that the key to changing all of that is love. I love me, and I love you. I love your greatness. Like, let's be great together. And if we do happen to look side by side, then it's not in comparison. It's like, what can I do to help uplift? How can I serve this person so that we can both be great together? That's so powerful. Thank you. Any last thoughts before we end our call today? Well, thank you all for joining us today. Kathy, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just something really jumped out at me when you were going through the thinking about superpowers, and in our imaginations, we can have any superpower that serves us in any moment. That really was fun for me for a moment. So
Cool.
Without going into any more of it, it was pretty awesome. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I love that. A lot of times, we get stuck in our logical mind and we think, well, it can't be this because of this, and only, this is the only thing that's possible or whatever. But that, even Einstein said that the imagination is more important than knowledge. If you can imagine it, it's possible. There is a way that it can be created. It's almost never going to come out exactly the way that you imagine it. It will always be better. God has a way, and the universe has a way of bringing everything to you when you focus on those things in your imagination. And that's why it's so important to, to identify what these decisions that we made in the past and, about ourselves, limiting beliefs that were created in the past in a painful moment, to identify what those are and clear them out, because whatever we are really focusing on is what we're creating in our lives. So thank you all for everything that has been shared today. I look forward to being back together with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. In the meantime, if there's anything else that you'd like to share, if you have new thoughts that come to you after the call or whatever, join us on the Facebook group, Breakthrough with Gratitude. Post there. We'd love to interact with you, continue this interaction there. So thank you all for being here, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time.
Thanks, Eileen.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.